Hey, I'm Creech and this is Creech and Cars, where I talk about car news, history, and culture. A lot has been changing in the automotive industry over the past few years, with the major trend being decreasing engine sizes and turbocharging. While a V12 once signified ultimate high performance, it's now slowly becoming a thing of the past. So in this video, we'll be taking a look at the last cars that can still be bought brand new with a V12 engine. Aston Martin has a long history with 12-cylinder engines, and this classic British sports car company has 3 models available for 2024 that use a 5.2-liter twin-turbocharged V12 called the AE31. This motor is used in the flagship DBS Superleggera, which is also offered as a convertible called the Volante. The DBS gets 715 horsepower and 664 pound-feet of torque, and it puts it through an 8-speed ZF transmission. The DBS can do 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds, which is even better when you consider the DBS is a true grand tourer that weighs over 3,700 pounds. The DBS is a supercar that's also a true luxury car, and it shares this luxurious interior and ride with the cheaper DB11. Although it shares the same AE31, it's tuned down to 600 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque. It's no slouch though. The DB11 can still do 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds and reach speeds just over 200 miles per hour. 2023 was the last year for the DB11, but you can still find new ones available, just not for much longer. It's being replaced by the DB12 that unfortunately will only offer a V8. However, Aston Martin still offers this V12 in its cheapest model, the Vantage. The V12 Vantage gets 690 horsepower and 555 pound-feet of torque. The Vantage is the smallest car that still has the option for a V12, but it's not the lightest as it retains the grand touring interior feel, albeit in a less refined manner than its bigger brothers. Ferrari is another classic sports car maker that is keeping the V12 alive. The 812 GTS uses Ferrari's F140 GA 6.5-liter V12 that makes 689 horsepower and 530 pound-feet of torque. Although the Competizione model is now gone, the 812 GTS is still a Super GT and does 0 to 60 in about 2.8 seconds and can reach speeds well over 200 miles per hour. The interior is comfortable and the hardtop convertible feels like a true coupe when you have the top up. But for those who want the Ferrari V12 in a more extreme package, Ferrari also offers the Daytona SP3. The Daytona is the ultimate modern Ferrari that gets 829 horsepower and 514 pound-feet of torque that get put through a 7-speed dual clutch. 0 to 60 comes in less than 3 seconds, with power only going to the rear wheels. The Daytona SP3 was limited to just 599 units, costing well over $2 million, and the model is already sold out for 2024. One last Ferrari that still has a V12 is ironically the least traditional model in the brand's lineup, which would of course be the Purosangue. With the same F140 V12, the Purosangue gets 715 horsepower and 528 pound-feet of torque. It is a bit heavier than other Ferraris, and 0 to 60 comes about 3.3 seconds, but what the Purosangue lacks in performance, it makes up for in comfort and practicality. While Ferrari's hybrid model uses a V8, Italian rival Lamborghini recently debuted its new flagship, the V12, as a proper hybrid that uses a 6.5-liter naturally aspirated V12. On its own, the engine makes 814 horsepower, but with the addition of 3 electric motors, the total power output comes to just over 1,000 horsepower. With an 8-speed dual-clutch transmission, the Lamborghini V12 can do 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds. A 12-cylinder can also be in a true luxury car like the Bentley Flying Spur Speed, which uses a W12 engine, meaning the motor was developed from 2 V6s, but at the end of the day it has 12 cylinders in a V shape. So with this list being pretty short, I thought I should throw it in. This engine makes 626 horsepower and 664 pound-feet of torque, so it gives a much torquier feel than some of the other engines in this video. But the Flying Spur is a mammoth full-size sedan, so it really needs all the help it can get to get going. This W12 can also be found on the Continental GT Speed, which is essentially a coupe version of the Flying Spur and still offers one of the most luxurious interiors in the world, while also being able to do 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds, with power coming through a Porsche dual clutch transmission. While V12s used to be common in German full-size sedans, the Mercedes Maybach S680 now stands alone as the last German car with a V12. The Maybach S680 is the ultra-luxury version of the S-Class that offers a now exclusive 6-liter twin-turbo V12, making 621 horsepower and 664 pound-feet of torque. With more luxurious features and touches on the interior, the S680 is Mercedes' attempt to match up with and undercut the Bentley Flying Spur. Like the S-Class, the BMW 7 Series used to have a V12 as a valuable and coveted option, but now a BMW V12 can only be found in a Rolls-Royce. This engine is the N74 6.75-liter twin-turbo V12 that produces 563 horsepower and 664 pound-feet of torque for the whole Rolls-Royce lineup, aside from the Spectre, of course. On black badge models, this engine is tuned up to 593 horsepower. That doesn't mean that Rolls-Royces are particularly fast, however, as luxury and comfort take center stage in these models. Even the Ghost can weigh more than a full-size truck, so the extra-large Phantom needs about 5.1 seconds to get to 60 miles per hour. But the Ghost and Cullinan are a little bit quicker. While the Purosangue may offer the best V12 performance for an SUV, no other SUV comes close to the opulence of the Cullinan. And finally, I saved the best for last. The Pagani Utopia is a true hypercar that costs $2.2 million and sadly is the last of its kind, with a 6-liter twin-turbo V12 that's hooked up to a 7-speed manual transmission. This engine comes from AMG and makes 852 horsepower and 809 pound-feet of torque. Even with its gorgeous interior, the Utopia weighs less than 3,000 pounds and should do 0 to 60 in well under 3 seconds, while being able to reach speeds around 250 miles per hour. The Utopia will be limited to just 99 units, all of which have already been sold. So those are the last V12s remaining, and this list will likely continue to shrink year by year. Let me know which car from this list is your favorite in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, consider giving it a like and subscribe so you don't miss future uploads. On this channel, I talk about car news, history, and culture. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.